Because this is how success is guaranteed. And this is what true effort looks like. And honestly, this idea changed the way I study too. I almost died while studying. Even if you paid me $100,000, I would never go back in time. I still believe I was one of the hardest working students in Korea. I was competitive and no one could beat me. It's one simple but life-changing word that made all the difference. And do you know what it is? I would go to the library and suddenly I would flip the table and start shouting and cursing just like that. And one thing that helps me stay consistent is, what does it really take to succeed? Is it burning the midnight oil, studying 15 hours a day, or is there something more important? Today, I'll share the unbelievable story of Mr. Cho, a famous study motivator in Korea. He graduated from Seoul National University, the most prestigious university in the country. To get in, students typically study around 10 hours a day and attend multiple tuitions. And many sacrifice their entire teen years doing nothing but studying. But Mr. Cho's story defies expectations. Unlike most top students, he didn't start early. In fact, he only began taking studying seriously from high school, which makes his success nearly impossible in Korea. Now, let me tell you what he testifies about his high school life. When students ask him, "Sir, you must have studied really hard, right?" He doesn't hesitate. He says, "I almost died while studying. Even if you paid me $100,000, I would never go back in time." And he gives us 2 reasons why. Number 1, he says just thinking about those years makes him want to die. He nearly had a mental breakdown. The second reason, even if he were born again 10 times, he would never push himself to that level again. Yet, at the same time, he carries immense pride of what he did. Most people regret their past mistakes and wish they could go back in time to do better. But Mr. Cho says he could never work that hard again, even if he tried. And then he adds, "I still believe I was one of the hardest working students in Korea. I was competitive and no one could beat me." When students hear this, their eyes start shining and they eagerly ask, "How much did you study? Can I ever be like you?" Mr. Cho drops a bombshell. He says, "This is why I would never go back in time no matter what. First, I had 7.5 hours of sleep every single day. And for reference, the average sleep duration of Seoul National University students is 3 to 5 hours a day. So the students are shocked. Wait, you mean 73 minutes, right? No, 7 hours and 30 minutes. Huh? You've actually gotten enough sleep. And then Mr. Cho says, "Hey, I told you I almost had mental issues." And then here comes the most curious question. The students ask, "So how long did you study every day?" He answers, "Exactly 4 hours a day. And during the holidays, 10 hours a day." Silence fills the room. 4 hours a day? That's nothing. We can also do 10 hours a day during the holidays. Why are you making such a big deal about this? And why would you never go back in time? Your routine seems completely normal. And you said no one could beat you? I think I could easily beat you. But what truly sets him apart isn't how long he studied. It's one simple but life-changing word that made all the difference. Mr. Cho says, "I would never go back in time because of this one word." And do you know what it is? It's every single day without missing even one day. For 3 years, he slept 7.5 hours every single day. And he studied for 4 hours every single day. He says, "During the holidays of my second year of high school, I went to the library to study 10 hours a day for 68 days straight without missing a single day. And that's when my burnout almost killed me." Then he explains, "If I had to do this for just 3 days or a week maybe, I could handle it because I would know that there was an end. But my high school life lasted 3 years and it felt endless. So I hit burnout during those 68 days of my holidays. The first day was fine. The second day was okay too. But by the third day, it started. And what truly tortured him wasn't studying. It was the crushing thought of an endless, repetitive cycle. Like, I have to do this tomorrow, and the day after, and the next day for like 68 days. And after that, I would still have to study 4 hours every day, like forever." The frustration consumed him. He says, "Every day I would snap. I would go to the library and suddenly I would flip the table and start shouting and cursing just like that. And even though he lost control sometimes, he still never missed a single day." He also talks about self-justification, the excuses we make to avoid discomfort. Here's a quick definition. Self-justification is the process of rationalizing one's actions, beliefs, or decisions to maintain a positive self-image and avoid feelings of guilt or discomfort. He says, "Every single day, I had to fight my own excuses." He always had a reason to skip school. Like, "I don't feel well today. If I go today, I might get sick for a whole week, so it's better for me to rest today." Or maybe, "It's snowing heavily and my school is uphill. What if I break my leg while going to school? I won't be able to study then. Like, even my mom told me to stay home." But despite all these excuses, he still went. And even small things triggered him. Like if his mom was 5 minutes late to preparing breakfast, his excuses would start kicking in. "Mom, I'm going to be late. I can't go to school anymore. You ruined everything." But in the end, he still went. And that's what drove him crazy. The never-ending battle against himself. He says, "No one told me this, but I instinctively knew that I couldn't run away. I couldn't just study once in a while. I couldn't cram everything. I couldn't burn the midnight oil." He knew that persistency to be exact, was everything. And that's why he succeeded. Persistency is effort. Let me give you a short definition of persistency. It's the ability to continue despite difficulties. True effort isn't about pulling all-nighters. It's about doing it every single day. The total amount of time you study, work, or practice something isn't maximized by occasional extreme efforts. It's maximized by doing a little bit every single day. So don't stay up all night, don't push yourself to the breaking point, and don't overreact. But never never miss a day. There will be days when you feel sick or exhausted. If you planned to study like 3 hours but only managed to do 30 minutes, that's okay. Just don't break the chain, because this is how success is guaranteed. And this is what true effort looks like. And honestly, this idea changed the way I study too. For a long time, I thought I would need to feel motivated to start studying. I would wait for the perfect mood, the perfect environment, or enough energy to tackle the task. But what I've realized is that making studying easier to start is often more important than forcing yourself to study harder. And one thing that helps me stay consistent is my iPad. Whenever I make a mistake in math or science, I immediately write it down on my Aero notebook inside my iPad. Instead of searching through piles of worksheets, everything is just in one place. And when it's time to revise, I can quickly review the exact mistakes I tend to repeat. I also use it for planning my study sessions, organizing notes, and keeping track of what I need to review next. It doesn't magically make me smarter, and it definitely doesn't replace hard work. But it removes friction. And when your goal is to show up every single day, removing friction definitely matters. Because persistence isn't just about discipline. It's about creating a system that makes it easier to be disciplined. The easier it is to start, the likely you are to keep the chain going. And I think that's exactly what Mr. Cho understood. Success wasn't built on heroic bursts of motivation. It was built on showing up day after day, even when he didn't feel like it. So what do you think? Do you have what it takes to be persistent? And that brings us to the end of this video. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe and follow along my journey. See you in the next one.